Hello, I want to make a quick video about the book, The Untold Story of Books, which is funny. I went through the library just trying to see what book that I want to start back getting into personal readings. So I read a lot for my school, but personal stuff that you choose, right? And so that was the first book that stood out to me. So I was just getting back into reading. But it's the book title is The Untold Story of Books, a writer's history of book publishing by Michael Castleman. Okay. So the first part of the book is it says the first book business is part one, and it covers like the handcraft part of publishing, and then it transitions to the 19th century. So it goes way back. Okay, so think about it. The untold story of books is what it's called, right? So it's going back to the beginning where there were no books, and then it's walking you up until now. So much has happened to the point where people can just go on Amazon and just publish a book and you're an author. So it to me, if you like history, it's a good history topic. It's not boring, it's just really interesting. So here's some of the things I saw was interesting. So in the beginning there were no books, so people would sit around campfires and make up stories. So have you ever seen a show or a movie where it's kind of like the medieval times, like way back in the day, where they're sitting around the campfires and they're telling different stories and folk tales and all that? That's because no books existed. So the only way they could have stories that take you away from reality and things is to make it up and just verbally talk about it, right? So from there, let me go to where I put another note. Right. So one funny thing that I wrote down is that Socrates had mixed feelings about literacy back then. So he felt that when people begin to read and write, he felt that there's no way to, you may forget certain things. Kind of like if it's in a book, then you don't have to memorize it. And it reminded me of like cell phones. Like there was a point in time when cell phones were coming out and people were saying, oh, you're not going to have to remember phone numbers anymore because you can just store it in your cell phone and there it is. You don't have to rely on your brain. It's in your phone. He felt that same way about books. So the next note I wrote, is that there were scrolls back then, right? And the scrolls were so valuable to them that they actually had them chained once libraries became familiar, once libraries were created. And the thing is, right now, how you can just go into like a bookstore, library, probably thrift store, anywhere, and just pick up a book. Books weren't common back then because it cost so much money to generate a book. Before we get to the books of books being created, it was scribes. So, if you've ever seen like one of those old movies or something, there's a scribe, they roll it. That and those now those scribes, they were only right on the front, right? They didn't write on the back. And they noticed, well, this is very costly. We need to start using both sides to save money. So they then started writing on both sides. So then the problem with that was all scribes look alike. I'm sorry, I keep saying scribes, it's scrolls. All the scrolls they look alike. So it's just a rolled up paper, right? So, and you have to unroll it to see if it's what you're looking for. So then they had to create the systems where you tag them so that you can find the ones that you're looking for. So, you can, there's differences amongst the scrolls so you can figure out, is this the scroll that you're looking for, the subject that you're looking for. Right after scrolls, there became the clay tablets. Think like 10 Commandments. Remember the story of Moses writing on the, so yeah, so like that. And then they used to write on animal skin. So they're trying different things, and then eventually paper became about. Yeah. So before all that, it was the scrolls, it was the clay tablets, and then they were writing on animal skin, on tree barks, whatever they can get a hold of, and then finally someone realized paper. is something they can write on. And so the cost of the scribes at that time to the scrolls to create a scroll, you it's the equivalent of $75,000 today. 75 comma 000 is how much it will cost to create like a book at that time. And again, so that made books very rare to people. So think of only the rich people had books in their house. Again, the history books. This is where, up until fast forward to now, where you can find them anywhere, even in Dollar Tree. Um, so let's see what else I've got on here. Yeah, and then it said books were so valuable back then that they were chained to the library shelves. Now, I'm only giving you like some pieces of the front part of the book. I'm not going to go into the middle or the end and in too much detail because if in case you're interested in reading, I'm sure you want to find out some things yourself. But that's just the gist of this book, to where there were copyright issues that came up. Like there were where people were back then, they were so honored to get their work published that they would give up the copyrights to the distributing company. And it's like you just give it away, and they were just happy that their name was on the first page of the book, or that they were listed as the author. And then after so long, people start saying, hey, you know what? Shouldn't that still be my property, even though you're a distributor? So then that brings in the copyright battles and all of that. So interesting book, in my opinion, if you like history, and it falls under that topic. So take care.